The morning sun cast long shadows across the training grounds of the Galactic Defense Academy on Kepler Station. Human Cadet. Jake Morrison crouched behind the energy barrier, plasma rifle steady in his hands, waiting for the exercise to begin. Around him, alien cadets from dozens of species prepared for what their instructors called controlled live fire simulation. Sergeant Vex, a towering reptilian from the Draken system, barked orders through his translator device. His scaled hide gleamed under the artificial lighting as he gestured with clawed hands toward the obstacle course ahead. The other drill instructors, a mix of insectoid hive minds and crystalline resonance, flanked him with military precision. Today's exercise will test your combat reflexes under genuine threat conditions, Sergeant Vex announced, his voice carrying across the field. The energy weapons are set to training mode, but they will still cause significant pain upon impact. Failure to take cover appropriately will result in medical attention. Jake glanced at his fellow human cadets. There were only 12 humans in this mixed-species training unit of 200. Most alien races had joined the Galactic Coalition centuries before humanity's first contact just 50 years ago. They were still considered the newcomers, the untested species that many doubted belonged among the stars. The exercise began with a sharp whistle. Targets popped up at random intervals while automated defense systems fired controlled bursts of energy at anyone who remained exposed too long. Jake moved through the course with fluid efficiency, his rifle barking as he eliminated targets with precise shots. What happened next would become legend throughout the academy. As Jake rolled behind a concrete barrier to avoid incoming fire, his rifle sling caught on his equipment harness. The weapon twisted awkwardly, and instead of firing at the intended target, it discharged directly into the ground 3 feet in front of him. The energy bolt struck a small rock, which bounced up and bonked him gently on the helmet. Jake chuckled. It was a simple human sound of amusement at his own clumsiness, a brief laugh at the absurdity of being attacked by a pebble during military training. Nothing more than a moment of levity in an otherwise serious exercise, but to the alien instructors that chuckle was something else entirely. The exercise ground fell silent. Every automated system powered down simultaneously. The alien cadets froze in position, their various sensory organs focused on Jake's location. Even the insects stopped their constant chittering. Sergeant Vex approached slowly, his massive frame casting a shadow over Jake's position. The other instructors followed, forming a semicircle around the confused human cadet. Cadet Morrison, Sergeant Vex said, his translator struggling with what seemed to be reverence rather than its usual military bark. You were under direct fire from 3 automated systems. Energy bolts were impacting within meters of your position. Your equipment malfunctioned, leaving you momentarily defenseless. Jake nodded, unsure where this was leading. Yes, Sergeant. I made an error with my rifle positioning. And your response to this life-threatening situation was to express amusement? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Jake looked around at the alien faces staring at him. Some showed confusion, others what might have been fear, and a few displayed something that looked suspiciously like respect. It was just funny, Sergeant. The rock bouncing off my helmet after my own shot ricocheted. Sometimes you have to laugh at yourself. A crystalline instructor named Commander Resonance stepped forward, her body chiming softly as she moved. In 700 years of military training across 43 species, no cadet has ever expressed amusement while under fire. Most species respond with fear, anger, or enhanced aggression. Never joy. Not joy exactly, Jake said, standing and brushing dust from his uniform. Just finding humor in a ridiculous situation. Humans do that sometimes. It helps us cope with stress. The instructors exchanged what Jake could only interpret as meaningful looks. Sergeant Vex activated his personal communicator and spoke rapidly in his native tongue. Within minutes, higher-ranking officers began arriving at the training ground. Colonel Brightwing, a feathered avian who served as the Academy's commandant, landed near the group with a flutter of iridescent wings. Her translator crackled as she addressed Jake directly. Cadet Morrison, You maintained composure and found amusement during a combat scenario that would traumatize most species. This suggests either remarkable psychological resilience or dangerous mental instability. Which is it? Jake considered the question seriously. Around him, cadets from dozens of worlds watched with unblinking attention. He realized this moment might define not just his own future, but how his entire species was perceived by the galactic community. Colonel, humans have survived on a world that actively tried to eliminate us for millions of years. Weather that could freeze or boil us, predators that could crush or poison us, diseases that could wipe out entire populations. We learned that sometimes the only way to keep going is to find something funny about how bad things get. He gestured toward the training course. This exercise is designed to be stressful, but compared to a tornado or a charging bear or a global pandemic, it's actually not that scary. So when I messed up and got bonked by a rock, I shot myself. Yeah, I laughed. Because the alternative is to take everything so seriously that you forget to enjoy being alive. The silence stretched for long moments. Then Sergeant Vex did something unprecedented in his military career. He chuckled. It was a harsh reptilian sound, but unmistakably amused. Commander Resonance's crystalline structure began to vibrate in harmonic patterns that her species used to express joy. Even Colonel Brightwing ruffled her feathers in what Jake had learned was avian laughter. "Resume the exercise," Colonel Brightwing announced. "All units continue training, and remember what you witnessed here today. Sometimes the greatest strength is not the absence of fear, but the ability to find light in darkness." As the training resumed, Jake noticed a change in how his alien classmates looked at him. Where before he had seen tolerance or mild curiosity, now he saw something approaching respect. Word of the incident spread through the academy faster than subspace communication. Within a week, the Morrison response had become part of military psychology textbooks. Xenobiologists requested interviews to understand human humor as a survival mechanism. Combat psychiatrists began studying whether laughter could be taught to other species as a stress management technique. But for Jake, the most important change was simpler. His fellow cadets, both human and alien, began to understand that humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their aggression. It was their ability to find hope and humor even in the darkest moments. And sometimes, in a galaxy full of dangers, a chuckle could be the most serious response of all.